You simply the best. There we go. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Welcome again to our daily Bible reading. Now, we haven't been here for a few days. You all know that um I was busy. I had some family situation to take care of, and so I was a little bit busy. But we are back. We are back. That's how life is. You take a little break here and a little break there. The last time we were here, we started the reading of the book of, we are on the book of First Samuel. And when we were here last time, we read up to chapter 4. And for those of you who have been here, you know how it has been going for us. AG is here. AG has been here. AG, what's up? How are you doing? So good to see you. Happy Tuesday morning. Can you all believe it? It's Tuesday morning already. The week is going by so fast. Um, what can I say? But thanks to you all for being here. Thank you all for checking in each morning as we do what we do. We sincerely appreciate you all. And if you are new into the channel, guys, a very special welcome to you. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, I think now is a great time for you to do so. Uh, for all my returning travelers, I want to say thank you for your continued support. We sincerely appreciate you. And as far as the Bible reading go, I must tell you, we are no theologians over here. We are just ordinary people reading the Bible for ourselves and understanding it on our own terms. Because after all, the Bible is very influential in every single aspect of our lives. And because of that, we we believe it is imperative that we know what is in the Bible. And we have come across some very questionable stuff in the Bible so far. And so we are going to continue to read it. And whenever we are reading, you are always invited to come on in and share with us what you know, what you have discovered, and if you have by any chance come across any additional literature that would add some clarification to what we are reading, we sincerely appreciate if you would share that with us. All right. And with that being said, we are going to continue the reading of the book of First Kings. We are on to, excuse me, we are on to First Kings, and we are going to be reading chapter 4. So get your book Bible or your Google Bible and come on with us and let us continue. I think we had read chapter 4 already, but we are going to continue the reading. Did we do chapter 3? I'm going to read chapter 3. All right, forgive me guys for saying we're going to read chapter 4. I'm going to read chapter 3. Let us begin. Get your Bible and follow along with me, my dear friends. First Kings chapter 3. And Solomon made affinity with Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and took Pharaoh's daughter and brought her into the city of David. Until he had made an end of building his own house, and the house of the Lord, and the wall of Jerusalem round about. Only the people sacrificed in high places, because there was no house built unto the name of the Lord until those days. And Solomon loved the Lord, walking in the statutes of David his father. Only he sacrificed and burnt incense in high places. And the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there, for that was the great high place. 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer upon that altar. In Gibeon, the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, "Ask what I shall give thee." Okay, so Solomon offered 1,000 burnt offerings on the altar in Gibeon. And there the Lord appeared to him in a dream and asked him, What shall I give thee? And Solomon said, Thou hast showed unto thy servant David my father great mercy, according as he walked before thee in truth and in righteousness, and his uprightness of heart with thee. And thou hast kept for him this great kindness, that thou hast given him a son to sit on his throne, as it is this day. And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitudes. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this, thy so great a people? And the speech pleased the Lord, that Solomon had asked these things. And God said unto him, Because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked for riches for thyself, nor hast thou asked for the life of thine enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. Behold, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like thee. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, that so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all these days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways, to keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen thy days. And Solomon awoke. Remember, this is in a dream now. This is in a dream that Solomon is talking to God, and he's asking God what God appeared to him in a dream and asked him, What shall I give you? What do you want? What do you want me to do for you? And instead of asking for riches and wealth and for God to slay his enemies, Solomon asked for wisdom and understanding to be able to be a good judge among the people. He said, Lord, your people are so many. They are like a multitude. I need you to give me understanding so that I can split justice among them, so that I can see good and bad. Because remember, as the king, the people were always going to be coming to him to split justice, because that's what the kings do. They were the king, the judge, the juror, the executioner. So he wanted God to give him an understanding as to how Richie, 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 what's up? Richie, a long time I not see you. Let me turn on the phone here. Say as soon as I see me people, I not see them long time. Me have to get extra. Watch out. How Brina doing? How much are Brina this? Is he the Richie or Brina, you know? Richie Rich Kitchen. Or hey Richie, what's going on? As me open it 4 months ago, you post one video, Richie. Hold on there, I can't 4 months. Hold on there, Richie. How what they go on? 3 months ago? You put up one video? Yeah, me see this video already. No wonder me not see you come across. What's going on? What Brina do to you? Tell me. Tell me what Brina do you. Yeah, me did see that 1 year. Uno come look here. Okay. All right, Richie. So whenever you forward again. Oh, Richie. Okay. 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 Cause me know the one Brina, you know. Me know the one Brina. Wait, that's today. Cause like that, me not see where your playlist there. Let me see what me run for your playlist already. Richie, Rich, this is playlist one. Me supposed to watch that already. Let me see this one. It say calls. Oh yeah, me not run that one the name calls yet. All right, let me run that one here. All right. All right, that's over this today. I run. Blessings, which is always good to see you, my love. All right, so here, let's get back to the reading. So here, Solomon is asking God to help him, to give him wisdom and understanding so that when he speaks justice among the Israelites, he would do it right. He would do it fairly. And God said, because you have asked me for knowledge and understanding, I am going to give you even more. I am going to give you long life. I'm going to give you knowledge, understanding, and also long life. Because you didn't ask me for money. You didn't ask me for riches. And you did not ask me to take the life of your enemies. And that was a good thing. Joe is in the place. How are you doing, Joe? Joe, you know, I had a good rest. I've been up since 4 o'clock, as always. And I went to bed. At what time we go to bed last night? 2 o'clock, about? Yeah. After I came off the live, I went to bed about 2. And I woke up at 4. So, said tonight I go bed early. That's what I say right now. But anywho, we are going to continue the reading. Let's see what else was the conversation between Solomon and the Lord. Verse 13. And I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor, so that there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all your days. And if thou wilt walk in my ways and keep my statutes and my commandments, as thy father David did walk, then I will lengthen your days. And Solomon awoke, and behold, it was a dream. And he came to Jerusalem and stood before the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and offered up burnt offerings, and offered peace offerings, and made a feast to all his servants. Then came there 2 women that were harlots unto the king, and stood before him. All right, thank you, Joseph. I enjoyed myself too, and your company helped me to accomplish a whole lot last night. I'm gonna have to do it again because I need to get rid of these like ASAP. Let's continue. Verse 17. And one woman said, O my Lord, I and this woman dwell in one house, and I was delivered of a child with her in the house. And it came to pass the 3rd day after I delivered, that this woman also delivered, and we were together. There was no stranger with us in the house, save the 2 of us. And this woman's child died in the night because she overlaid it. Okay, so these 2 women, they are 2 harlots. They came to the king to say, one of the women said, listen to me, king. Listen to me, King Solomon. This woman and I live in the same house. The 2 of us was pregnant. I had my child first. And then 3 days after, 3 days afterwards, this woman also had a child. And she laid on her child. You know, your mommy and the baby in the bed together, and mommy roll over on the baby. She laid over on the child, and the child died. And verse 20, and she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me while I was asleep. You know, when they said thine handmaid, that's what they mean when they talk to the king. That is a way of presenting themselves to the king as being submissive to him, to show that they are of I don't want to say lower, but to show that he is superior to them. Because you will notice, as we have been reading, whenever a woman is talking to a king, she usually refers to herself as his handmaid. And whenever a man is talking to a king, they usually refer to themselves as his servant. So here in verse 20, the woman says, and she arose at midnight and took my son from beside me while thine handmaid slept, and laid it in her bosom, and laid her dead child in my bosom. Verse 21, and when I rose in the morning, I give my baby suck. Behold, it was dead. But when I had considered it in the morning, behold, it was not my son, which I did bear. Yes, God, out of reverence. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. Out of reverence. You see why I tell them you and I are attached from the brain to the hips, all the way down? Yeah. Verse 22. And the other woman said, no, but the living child is my son, and the dead child is your son. And they said, no, but the dead child is your son, and the living child is my son. So here, the two women are going back and forth about this child. One woman believed the living child is hers, the other believed the living child is hers also. So the two of them are fighting over this one child right in front of the king. Then said the king, the one said, this is my son that is living, and thy son is dead. And the other said, no, this is my son. My son is living, and your son is dead. And the king said, bring me a sword. And they brought a sword before the king. And the king said, divide the living child in two, and give half to one woman and half to the other woman. That was very clever. Then spake the woman whose the living child was unto the king, for her bowels yearned unto her son. And she said, O my lord, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. But the other said, let it be neither mine nor thine, but divide it. OMG. So you all hear that, guys? You all hear that? Let me explain. So two women, two harlots living in a house together. One gives birth to a son. 3 days later, a second one gives birth. The other one gives birth to a son. The one who gave birth first, the one who gave birth second, her baby died. She took the baby and she put the baby beside the other woman's, in the bed beside the other woman, and took the woman's living baby. So now the woman wake up in the morning, she's giving the baby suck, she realized the baby is dead. She looks on the baby carefully and she said, but this is not my baby. Maybe our baby had a birthmark. Maybe you don't know. A mother knows her child from the moment she lays eyes on that baby. She knows her child. I've given birth to 5 babies, and after I laid my eyes on them the first time, nobody could tell me, could take my baby after. I knew what my baby looked like. And so the woman looked on the baby and said, this baby is not mine. When she looked on the baby that the other woman had, that was the living baby, she said, that baby is mine. The woman said, no, this living baby is my baby, and that dead baby is your baby. So they fought over it. So they went to the king, King Solomon, for him to determine what should they do about these 2 babies, one living and one dead. The woman who has the living baby now, she's saying the baby is hers, and the woman who had to bury a dead baby said the living baby is hers. The king said, listen, this is how I'm going to split justice. I wasn't there. I don't know how to determine who is telling the truth, if the baby is for one or the other. I don't know. So listen to how I'm going to split justice. Somebody bring me a sword, please. Wanna bring me a sword, because this whole situation is ridiculous and I need to solve it. I need to resolve it right now. When he brings the sword, says, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna cut the baby in 2. I'm gonna give you half and give you half and see if you're not satisfied. Since you not cry over the baby. The woman who knew in her heart that the baby was not hers, that the living baby was not hers. She know enough for her baby, She know for her baby dead, You hear what she said to him? Yes. Cut the baby in 2. So she won't have a baby and I won't have a baby. The woman would have rather the baby get cut in 2 and die rather than give the woman her baby. The woman, though, it was her baby for real. This is the woman who just buried the dead baby, She know the baby is hers. The woman said, no, my lord, don't hurt the baby. Let her keep the baby. Because at least if she keep the baby will be alive. Right there, Solomon would know who is really the baby's mother or who deserves to be in charge of the life of another human being. Because that woman who said to cut the baby in half, she don't deserve to have another human being under her charge at all. So let us continue. Verse 27, and for those of you who are just coming in, if you want to follow us, we are reading from 1 Kings chapter 3. Verse 27. Then the king answered and said, give her the living child, and in no wise slay it. She is the mother of the child. And all Israel heard of the judgment which the king had judged, and they feared the king, for they saw that the wisdom of God was with him to do judgment. This is the end of chapter 3 of the book of 1 Samuel. Let us continue. We are going to move on to chapter 4. Hold on, let me just take a look over here, so. What is a Malta challenge? Everything I play over here, so but me not even get to look. Because I'm reading Malta challenge, Richie. Chapter 4 of 1 Kings. So King Solomon was king over all Israel. And these were the princes which he had. Azariah, the son of Zadok, the priest. Elihoreph, and Ahijah, the sons of Shisha, scribes. Jehoshaphat, the son of Ahilud, the recorder, and Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, was over the host. And Zadok and Abiathar were the priests. And Azariah, the son of Nathan, was over the officers. So guys, it looks like there were two Azariahs. You see, that's why it makes sense to read the Bible for yourself. Here in verse 2, it says, Azariah, the son of Zadok, the priest. So that was Azariah 1. And then verse 5 said, and Azariah, the son of Nathan, was over the officers. So here we have Azariah 2. And Zabud, the son of Nathan, was principal officer and the king's friend. And Ahishar was over the household, and Adoniram, the son of Abda, was over the tribute. And Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel. Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, which hold on, gentle people. Hold on, let me take a call here. All right, so our people, I had to take care of some business there. So here we go again. We are on to verse 7 of chapter 4 of the book of 1 Samuel. And Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, which provided victuals for the king and his household. Each man his month in a year made provisions. All right. So somebody had sent me a thing that said that the months of the year, the months, there were more than 12 months in the year back when the Bible was written. And because I didn't know, I didn't know. I don't know any better. So if you tell me something, unless I go research it myself, um, or there is parts of it that I can pick through, I don't usually dispute it. I just say, okay. So here, the Bible is saying Solomon appointed 12 officers, one for each month of the year. So if back then Solomon was appointing 12 officers from, I assume, to represent the 12 tribes of Israel, and it says here one for each month of the year, that means during the time of Solomon, there were 12 months in the year. All right, so we got that taken care of. Even though I know somebody's going to say, look, you know what, the Bible was retranslated and rewritten and yada, 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 yada. Well, that might be so, but we're going to go by what this says. Just like how we are, most of us are believing all the other stuff that is written in this version of the Bible. Yeah, we're going to treat this information the same way. All right. And verse 7, and Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, which provided victuals for the king and his household. Each man his month in a year made provisions. And these are their names. The son of in Mount Ephraim. So was a descendant of Ephraim. The son of Dekar in Makaz and in Shalbin and Beth Shemesh and Elon Beth Hanan, the son of Hesed in Aruboth. To him pertained Sokoth and all the land of Epher. The son of Abinadab in all the region of Dor, which had Taphath, the daughter of Solomon, to wife. Okay. So Taphath was Solomon's daughter. Hold on, I'm writing there. Solomon's daughter. Okay. Bana, the son of Ahilud. To him pertained Tanakh and Megiddo and all Beth Shean, which is by Zartanah beneath Jezreel. From Beth Shean to Abdel Meholah, even unto the place that is beyond Jokneam. The son of Geba in Ramoth Gilead. To him pertained the towns of Jair, the son of Manasseh, which are in Gilead. To him also pertained the region of Argob, which is in Bashan, 60 great cities, that's 60 great cities with walls and brazen bars. Ahinadab, the son of Idu, had Mahanaim. Ahimaaz was in Naphtali. He also took Basmath, the daughter of Solomon, to wife. Okay, so Ahimaaz took Basmath, was Solomon's daughter as well. Okay. Bana, the son of Hushai, was in Asher and in Aloth. Jehoshaphat, the son of Peruah, in Issachar. Shimei, the son of Elah, in Benjamin. Okay, so Shimei, the son of Elah, wasn't that the same Shimei who had thrown the stones at Solomon? So, okay. So he took Shimei. Solomon took Shimei as one of his officers. Verse 19. Gerber, the son of Uri, was in the country of Gilead, in the country of Shion, king of the Amorites, and of Og, king of Bashan, and he was the only officer which was in the land. Okay, so Gerber was given the land of the land of Cheyenne. Remember that Moses had slain Sihon and Og when they came out of the wilderness over there in Gilead. That wasn't Gilead. When they came out of the wilderness, just before the children of Israel went over the river Jordan. When they came out of the wilderness, he slew Sihon and Og so that they could get that land to dwell on. Verse 20, Judah and Israel were many, as the sand which is by the sea in multitude, eating and drinking and making merry. And Solomon reigned over all kingdoms, from the river unto the land of the Philistines, and unto the border of Egypt. They brought presents and served Solomon all the days of his life. And Solomon's provisions for one day was 30 measures of fine flour, and 60 measures of meal. Wow. 60 measures of meal and 30 measures of fine flour. That was what Solomon got for a day, in one day, from the people. He also got 10 fat oxen. This was all that Solomon need to run his palace in one day, guys. Listen to all the things that he needed for one day. He needed 30 measures of fine flour, 60 measures of meal, 10 fat oxen, 20 oxen out of the pastures, 100 sheep, beside hearts, and roebucks, and fallow deer, and fatted fowl. And he had dominion over all the region on this side of the river, from Tephsah even to Azar, over all the kings on this side of the river. And he had peace on all sides round about him. And Judah and Israel dwelt safely, every man under his vine and under his fig tree. But from Dan even to Beersheba, all the days of Solomon. And Solomon had 40,000 stalls. Good mighty God. 40,000 stalls of horses for his chariots, and 12,000 horsemen. And those officers provided victual for King Solomon, and for all that came unto King Solomon's table, every man in his month. They lacked nothing. So each month, each of these officers had a month, and each month they were responsible. Each person was responsible for helping to gather up the foods and bring all the stuff for Solomon into his kingdom, his kingdom. Verse 27, and those officers provided victual for King Solomon, and for all that came unto King Solomon's table, every man in his month. They lacked nothing. Barley also and straw for the horses and dromedaries brought they unto the place where the officers were, every man according to his charge. And God gave Solomon wisdom and understanding exceedingly much, and largeness of heart, even as the sand that is on the seashore. And Solomon's wisdom excelled the wisdom of all the children of the east country, and all the wisdom of Egypt. For he was wiser than all men, than Ethan the Azarite, and Heman and Calcol, and Darda, the sons of Machal. And his fame was in all nations round about. And he spake 3,000 proverbs, How many proverbs did Solomon speak? 3,000 proverbs. 3,000 proverbs. Wow. And his songs were 1,005. And he spake of trees, from the cedar tree that is in Lebanon, even unto the hyssop that springeth out of the wall. He spake also of beasts, and of fowl, and of creeping things, and of fishes. And there came of all people to hear the wisdom of Solomon from all kings of the earth, which had heard of his wisdom. So everybody who heard about Solomon and Solomon's wisdom came from far away to come listen, to come hear what he had to say. He was a great poet. He spoke 3,000 proverbs and 1,005 songs. Wow. No wonder he experienced such reverence from everybody around him. The next chapter we are going to read this morning is chapter 5. I hope you all are enjoying the reading, as much as I am, because I am getting to know all these things that I didn't know before, because you know that when we go to church or when we hear Bible readings, they are very selective, and we don't get the context of what is being said unless we read it for ourselves. All right. And also, guys, I think I'm going to cut my yard later today because I can see the dandelions coming up. So I think I'm going to do that afterwards. Let us continue. Chapter 5. And Hiram, king of Tyre, sent his servants unto Solomon, for he had heard that they had anointed him king in the room of his father. For Hiram was ever a lover of David. So Hiram loved David. Now when he heard that David had appointed his son Solomon, he sent his servants to Solomon. Let's hear what messages he gave his servants. And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, Thou knowest how that David my father could not build any house unto the name of the Lord his God. Hold up. And Solomon sent to Hiram, saying, You know how that David my father could not build any house unto the name of the Lord his God, for the wars which were about him on every side, until the Lord put them under the soles of his feet. So here Solomon is sending to Hiram to say, listen, my father David couldn't build any house of the Lord, because when he reigned, there was so much war all around him. People were trying to fight him. So he was more focused on these wars and defeating the enemy than to build a house of the Lord. But now, verse 4, but now the Lord my God hath given me rest on every side, so that there's neither adversary nor evil occurrent. So he's saying, listen, my father had a rough time. There was war that he had to fight. He didn't have time to build the house of the Lord. But now the Lord has given me peace. For from as far as my eyes can see, there is only contentment. These people around me are not trying to kill me. They're not trying to overthrow me. They're not trying to fight me. So I guess now, with so much peace, I should be able to have time to build the house of the Lord. Verse 5, and behold, I purpose to build a house unto the name of the Lord my God, as the Lord spake unto David my father, saying, Thy son, whom I will set upon thy throne in thy room, he shall build a house unto my name. Now therefore command thou that they hew me cedar trees out of Lebanon, and my servants shall be with thy servants, and unto thee will I give hire for thy servants according to all that thou shalt appoint. For thou knowest For thou knowest that there is not among us any that can skill to hew timber like unto the Sidonians. So here Solomon is saying to is sending his message to Hiram and saying, listen, my father didn't get to build a house for the Lord because of all the fighting and strife that he had to deal with. But now that I am king, I want to build the house of the Lord, but we're going to need some cedar trees. So listen, I will hire your servants and I will pay them. But I'm asking you for some cedar trees that you will give to my servants so that they can come and build the house of the Lord. And since your people are very skilled in carving cedar and in the use of cedar wood, I'm going to ask you for the cedar wood and for you to allow your people to help me build this house of the Lord because of their skills. Verse 7, and it came to pass, when Hiram heard the words of Solomon, that he rejoiced greatly, and said, Blessed be the Lord this day, which hath given unto David a wise son over this great people. And Hiram sent to Solomon again, saying, I have considered the things which thou sendest me for, and I will do all that thou desire concerning the cedar wood and concerning the timber of fir. You know, the timber, you know, the tree that's called fir, F-I-R. Okay, so that is the kind of wood and the cedar wood that Hiram is going to donate to Solomon in the building of the house of the Lord. Verse 9, my servants shall bring them down from Lebanon unto the sea, and I will convey them by sea in floats unto the place that thou shalt appoint me, and will cause them to be discharged there, and thou shalt receive them, and thou shalt accomplish my desire in giving food for my household. So Hiram gave Solomon cedar trees and fir trees according to all his desire. And Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 measures of wheat for food to his household. So that was a nice little exchange there. And 20,000 measures of pure oil. Solomon gave Hiram year by year. So every year, Solomon gave Hiram 20,000 measures of wheat and 20 measures of pure oil. And the Lord gave Solomon wisdom, as he promised him, and there was peace between Hiram and Solomon. And they two made a league together. So it's like two countries coming together. You know, you give me this, I give you that. We've seen recent times where countries like South Africa, Brazil, and some other countries have come together, you know, joining a league. They are supporting each other. You know, they're being trading partners. You give me this and I give you that. My country has gold and diamond and whatever else, and your country has bauxite and whatever else, so we can exchange in this here global economy. Okay, let's move on. Verse 13, and King Solomon raised the levy over all Israel, and the levy was 30,000 men. And he sent them to Lebanon. What is sending them to Lebanon to do, gentle people? If you all are following the reading, he is sending this 30,000 men to Lebanon to go transport back the fir and the cedar wood to the kingdom so he can build the house of the Lord. And he sent them to Lebanon, 10,000 a month by courses. So he gathered up 30,000 men, but he sent them 10,000 each month. A month they were in Lebanon, and 2 months at home. And Adoniram was over the levy. Okay, so Adoniram, he was the one who was responsible for what was happening. And why did they say who Adoniram was? Um, why he was the one put in charge? Was he Moses's son-in-law? No, he was not. He was not. I don't remember seeing his name before, so I was looking here to see who was he, but I haven't seen his name. So I'm just going to put a mark there, so we will look back at that one. And Adoniram was over the levy, and Solomon had Moses and in-law Venezuela supplied Cuba with oil, and Cuba supplied Venezuela with teach. Exactly, exactly. That's a fair trade. That is a fair trade. Moses and in-law. What did you say? I don't understand that card. Moses and in-law. So that again. Let me see what we're talking about. I am not sure. Verse 14 of chapter 5. And he sent them to Lebanon. 10. You said Moses on in-law. No, sir, I said that. I never said nothing about Moses, because Moses is not even there here so at all. Let's read it again. Verse 13. And King Solomon raised the levy out of all Israel, and the levy was 30,000 men. And he sent them to Lebanon, 10,000 a month by courses. A month they were in Lebanon, and 2 months at home. And Adoniram was over the levy. And Solomon had 70,000, that is 70,000 that bear burdens, and 80,000, that is 80,000 hewers in the mountains. Yeah, me don't remember saying nothing about Moses, because I didn't see Moses' name here at all. Oh, Andrea, good morning, my love. How are you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you as always, my love. I hope you're having a great morning as we are here reading the book of First Kings. I said it. Moses and in-law. Oh, you dropped asleep last night? Andrea, anybody would have dropped asleep. The lab was like 5 hours. Lord have mercy. The lab was like 5 hours, so anybody would have dropped asleep at that time. Moses. Can't say me say Moses and on in-law. Oh, I don't remember me say Moses. But anyway, I know me say Moses earlier when we that talk about when they come out of the wilderness, and that he had slain Sion and the king of Sion and Og. That I remember saying, but I don't remember. But we will see. We will continue. We will continue. Verse Moses' son-in-law. What did Moses' son-in-law? Oh, maybe. Oh, did I make a mistake? Maybe I meant Solomon's son-in-law. Oh, now you grabbed my thought, and I remember what I was thinking. Maybe did I say Moses? Oh, sorry if I did say Moses. Oh, sorry if I did say that. I meant Solomon. I said I was wondering if Adoniram was Solomon's son-in-law. But I was looking, but I didn't see that name at all. I'm sorry if I said Moses. My bad. Yeah, but he wasn't, because Ahimaaz was one of Solomon's son-in-law. He was married to Basmath, And who was married to Taphath? Let me see. Verse 11, verse 10. The son of Ezed in Aruzot, to him pertained Succoth and all the land of Ephah. The son of Abinadab in all the region of Dor, which had Taphath, the daughter of Solomon, to wife. I not even hear what's the name. What was the name of Taphath's husband? Let's see. Verse 8 said, and these are the names: the son of Hur in Mount Ephraim, the son of Dekar in Mekaz, and in Shalbin, and Beth Shemesh, and Elon Bethanan, the son of Ezed in Aruboth. To him pertained Succoth and all the land of Ephah, the son of Abinadab in all the region of Dor, which had Taphath, the daughter of Solomon, to wife. I have read that twice now. I mean, I know who was Taphath's husband. But anywho, we are going to continue. Verse 15 of chapter 5. And Solomon had 70,010 that bear burdens, and 80,000 hewers in the mountains, beside the chief of Solomon's officers, which were over the work, 3,300 which ruled over the people that wrought in the work. And the king commanded, and they brought great stones and costly stones and huge stones to lay the foundation of the house. And Solomon's builders and Hiram's builders did hew them, and the stone squarers. So they prepared timber and stones to build the house. Oh, wow. So here they were building the house of the Lord in Jerusalem, and the people of Hiram offered his men, because they said there was nobody in the area who could build using cedar wood as good as the Sidonians, and those were the people who were over there in Iram's kingdom. So they were sort of exchanging, and all these people together were building the house of the Lord over there in Jerusalem. And that is the end of chapter 5 of the book of 1 Kings. And for today, we are going to read the last chapter. Is going to be chapter 6. And it came to pass in the 480th year, after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt. Okay, this is the 480th years. Wow. In the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord. So the house of the Lord, Solomon started building the house of the Lord 480 years after the children of Israel came out of Egypt. And this is in the 4th year of his reign, in the month of Ziph. So that means that Solomon started reigning in the 476 years. Solomon started reigning in the 476th year after the children of Israel. Chapter 6, let's begin again. And it came to pass in the 480th year, after the children of Israel were come out of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Ziph, which is the second month, that he began to build the house of the Lord. And the house which King Solomon built for the Lord, the length thereof was 60 cubits, and the breadth thereof was 20 cubits, and the height thereof was 30 cubits. And the porch before the temple of the house, 20 cubits was the length thereof, according to the breadth of the house, and 10 cubits was the breadth thereof before the house. And for the house he made windows, and windows of narrow lights. And against the wall of the house he built chambers round about, against the walls of the house round about, both of the temple and of the oracle. And he made chambers round about. The nethermost chamber was 5 cubits broad, and the middle was 6 cubits broad, and the third was 7 cubits broad. For without, in the wall of the house, he made narrowed rests round about. That sound like veranda, right? Like him I make one wraparound veranda. That the beams should not be fastened in the walls of the house. And the house, when it was in building, was built of stone made ready before it was brought thither, so that there was neither hammer nor axe, nor any tool of iron heard in the house while it was building. Okay. So they didn't want the sound of any hammer or any axe or any tool, any iron tool while the house was being built. Is that out of reverence? The door for the middle chamber was in the right side of the house, and they went up with winding stairs into the middle chamber, and out of the middle into the third. So he built the house and finished it, and covered the house with beams and boards of cedar. And then he built chambers against all the house, 5 cubits high, and they rested on the house with timber of cedar. And the word of the Lord came to Solomon, saying, Concerning this house which thou art is building, if thou wilt walk in my statutes and execute my judgments and keep all my commandments to walk in them, then will I perform my word with thee, which I spake unto David your father. And I will dwell among the children of Israel, and will not forsake my people Israel. So Solomon built the house and finished it. And he built the walls of the house within with boards of cedar, both the floor of the house and the walls of the ceiling. And he covered them on the inside with wood, and covered the floor of the house with planks of fir. And he built 20 cubits on the sides of the house, both the floor and the walls with boards of cedar. He even built them for it within, even for the oracle, even for the most holy place. And the house, that is, the temple before it, was 40 cubits long. And the cedar of the house within was carved with knops and open flowers. All was cedar. There was no stone seen. And the oracle he prepared in the house within to set there the ark of the covenant of the Lord. And the oracle in the forepath was 20 cubits in length, and 20 cubits in breadth, and 20 cubits in the height thereof. And he overlaid it with pure gold, and so covered the altar, which was of cedar. So Solomon overlaid the house within with pure gold, and he made a partition by the chains of gold before the oracle, and he overlaid it with gold. And the whole house he overlaid with gold until he had finished all the house. Also the whole altar that was by the oracle he overlaid with gold. Hold on there. Let me see if. Hold on, the gentle people. Oh, I wanted to make sure that Richard's playlist was still running. Jamaica farmers, what are you doing, my brother? Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you doing? So good to see you, my dear. Hope you're having a great day. I know it's nice and cool down there in the lawny. I hope you're having a great morning, my love. We are here reading the book of First Kings. We are on to chapter 6 of verse 22. And the whole house he overlaid with gold until he had finished all the house. Also the whole altar that was by the oracle he overlaid with gold. And within the oracle he made 2 cherubims of olive tree, even 10 cubits high. And 5 cubits was the one wing of the cherubim, and 5 cubits the other wing of the cherubim. From the uttermost part of the one wing unto the uttermost part of the other were 10 cubits. And the other cherub was 10 cubits. Both the cherubims were of the one measure and one size. The height of the one cherub was 10 cubits, and so was it of the other cherub. And he set the cherubs within the inner house, and they stretched forth the wings of the cherubims, so that the wing of the one touched the one wall, and the wing of the other cherub touched the other wall. And their wings touched one another in the midst of the house. And he overlaid the cherubims with gold, and he carved all the walls of the house round about with carved figures of cherubims and palm trees and open flowers within and without. And the floor of the house he overlaid with gold within and without. And for the entering of the oracle he made doors of olive tree. The lintel and the side posts were a 5th part of the wall. The 2 doors also were of olive tree, and he carved upon them carvings of cherubims and palm trees and open flowers, and overlaid them with gold, and spread gold upon the cherubims and upon the palm trees. So also made he for the door of the temple posts of the olive tree, a 4th part of the wall. And the 2 doors were of fir tree. The 2 leaves of the one door were folding, and the 2 leaves of the other door were folding. And he carved thereon cherubims and palm trees and open flowers, and covered them with gold fitted upon the carved work. And he built the inner court with 3 rows of hewed stone, and a row of cedar beams. In the 4th year was the foundation of the house of the Lord laid, in the month of Ziph. So in the month of Ziph, the house of the Lord was built. And in the 11th year, in the month of Bul, that's B-U-L, which is in the 8th month. So the 8th month is called Bul, the 8th month of the year. So Ziph was the 2nd month. Are you all following me? So Ziph, let me make sure again I got it right. That Ziph, in the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month. Okay, I know, I remember that right. So in the calendar of those days, the month Ziph would be February. And the month Bul, B-U-L, is the 8th month, which is August. This is verse 38, and this is the last verse of chapter 6, and the last verse of our reading for today. And in the 11th year, in the month Bul, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, and according to all the fashion of it, so was he 7 years in building it. Okay, so the house of the Lord, as built by Solomon, he started building the house of the Lord in February, and that was 4 years into his reign. In February he started, and it was completed in his 11th year. So it took 11 years, and February, March, April, May, June, July, August. It took 11 and a half years for Solomon to build the house of the Lord. It took 11 and a half years. The foundation was laid in the second month, that is the month of Ziph. And in the 11th year, in the month of Bul, which is the 8th month, was the house finished throughout all the parts thereof, and according to all the fashion of it. So was he 7. Why do they say, okay, let's get this right. Let's get this right. It took 7 years to build the house of the Lord. But it was Solomon's 11th year of reigning. Okay, we got that straight now. We got that right. Let me say that again. The house of the Lord took 7 years to build, but it was completed in the 11th year of Solomon's reign, because he started building it in the 4th year of his reign, and it was completed in the 11th year of his reign. So it took 7 years. All right, now we got that straight. 7 years to build the house. Okay, all right, just make sure we got that straight. All right, guys. So Solomon, here we see Solomon building the house of the Lord that his father David had promised the Lord that he was going to build the house of the Lord. But David never got around to it. Why didn't David get around to it? Because throughout David's reign, he was busy fighting wars. War after war after war he was fighting. So he didn't have time to build the house. He had to focus on defeating the enemy. But now that his son Solomon is reigning, he is determined to build the house of the Lord. And to get the material to build the house of the Lord, he is talking with his friend Hiram. And his friend Hiram, who is the king over there in Sidonia, he loves Solomon like he loved Solomon's father David. And he has agreed that he will allow his men over there to work alongside Solomon's men to build the house of the Lord. He's going to provide them with skilled craftsmen. He's going to provide them with cedar, and he's going to provide them with fir so that they can build the house. And Solomon has gathered up 30,000 Israeli men. And these are the people who are going to be carrying the cedar all the way from Lebanon, all the way to Jerusalem. They are going to be carrying cedar. They're going to be carrying stones. They're going to be working alongside the Sidonians and cutting wood and laying the foundation and building the whole house of the Lord. Remember now, Moses, I keep saying Moses, forgive me guys, Solomon, he wants no hammer, no saw, no hard iron working in the house of the Lord. So they had to be very strategic in the building of in building this house of the Lord, because he doesn't want all of the regular activities that occur when a house is being built. There's a lot of hammering, a lot of noise, he doesn't want all of that in building the house of the Lord. He don't want all of that. So he wants them to lay the posts and the stones and the fir and everything else without all of that noise. And I believe it's out of reverence. If you know differently, let me know. But it sounds like out of reverence in building the house of the Lord, he doesn't, want it to be in any way, even if in its construction. He doesn't want it to be run over, for lack of a better word. So that was Solomon's task, to build the house of the Lord. And he started it in his 4th year of reign, and it took him 7 years to finish building the house of the Lord in Jerusalem. All right. That is going to be where we end this morning's reading. I'm going to come back on live later on today. We're going to be talking and doing some other things. But for right now, this is going to be the end of the reading for this morning. Come back and join me tomorrow morning, a little earlier though, when we will continue the reading of the Bible. Tomorrow morning though, we are going to be reading from chapter 7 of the book of 1 Kings. You're welcome to join us with your book Bible or your Google Bible. You can follow along with us as we try to read the Bible and understand it from a layman's point of view. So I want to say thanks again to everybody who came in. Thanks to all my returning travelers who are constantly here with me as we do this study together. If there is anything that you did not understand, or if there's any information you have that would clear up any discrepancies that you heard me say, don't be afraid to contact me. All right. The contact information is in the description below, and we can always resolve any misunderstandings. All right. That's going to be it from me this morning, guys. Until next time when we meet again. This is Trev from Trevessence, where your journey matters. Have yourselves a great day, everybody. Jamaica Farmers Hut and Card and Joseph and Andrea Winsome and AG and everybody else who came in the chat, and most importantly to the silent listeners. Have yourselves a great day, everybody.